أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله محمد صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. We are delighted, we are happy to be with you this afternoon. Alhamdulillah, this session, as we just have seen, that it is started with a play that actually depicts the very reality of our country. The life of the politician, the life and the manners, the ill manners of our leaders is what we just have seen being displayed by a group of talented young actors. But again, part of the message that they have shared with us is calling the Gambian youth to stand up to injustice, to be ready to see that this country for once is set on the right path. And that is actually what they meant by saying that Yalla du wàcca defal ñu li nga xam ne moom la ñu war a def. This must come from us as youth of this country. And this rally is a rally that calls on Gambian youths. In fact, the very purpose of this interface today with the people of the Gambia, in particular the youths, is to call you on an agenda that stands firm on strong values and principle to see to it that the independence that was hardly earned by our forefathers would start to mean something. We have no intention to sugarcoat what we will be saying. Our objective is to say it as it is, the truth, whatever it is. Because we clearly know that it is only through that we can build this country. It is time that youths of this country need to reflect. Again, reflect on the realities of our country. It is time that we need to start asking questions. The country is being governed by certain people, by leaders. Every one of us must ask questions. Are we proud of the leaders that are in charge of our country today? Are we proud of the realities, the fundamental realities, the daybreak, each daybreak of our country? Are we proud of what we see?
No.
Therefore, if we are honest to ourselves and we ask these salient questions, we will know that there is a problem. Our intentions, our objectives. You can never lead a people when you do not help them to understand what went wrong. Our challenges today, our problems today, the predicaments of this country today, it is as a result of so many errors, and all coming forth from our leaders. That must stop. But we understand clearly that it will only happen when the people are emancipated. We must take ownership of our mentality, our mind. We must take ownership of our hearts. We must take ownership of the love, unwavering love and loyalty that we have for Gambia, and make sure we do what is necessary to put this country in the right footing. We cannot continue to endure the hassles, the sufferings with leaders from whom we cannot see the slightest of dignity and honor that is required among leaders, the character and content that is apt, expected from our leaders to reach a great nation. All great nations in the world today are built by leaders through whom you will see apt character, content, manners, and leadership. A little bit of history that all of us must reflect upon, and that should be done all the time. 2016 was a very important year for Gambia. 2016 ushered in a change, a historic democracy. For the first time, Gambians went through the polls and changed our leadership democratically. But a moment before 2016, there was a coalition 2016. A moment before coalition 2016, there was even what was referred to as GOFA, a coalition of Gambian opposition parties that came together and stood firm that this Gambia needed electoral reforms. I can remember vividly when ECOWAS came to this country to negotiate, to bring about truce between former President Jammeh and opposition parties in the Gambia, then referred to as COVA. They said the way and the manner that the country was being governed was wrong. They said the laws were bad, they were not progressive. They said those laws can never lead to any form of greatness. But look at Allah the Almighty and His powers. It was in 2016 that Allah the Almighty took the firm authority of this country and handed it over to that group, most of whom were members of that GOFA. They have had agreements. In 2016, when they were ready to face the need to know the character or who exactly are the people that are coming to you and asking for what belongs to you, the authority and the power to lead this country. When coalition 2016 came to power, after a series of promising, the very first thing that they did was to throw away, put in the dustbin, every single principle, every single policy that was agreed upon themselves, by themselves, from GOVA and from the agreement of 2016. Where we are today is carved from the hands of political leaders in this country. It is unfortunate, but it is the truth. A little among those promises amplified the earlier GOVA promises of a good democracy, of a new constitution, of progressive policies. electoral laws. But again, the loudest, the most vivid among all those promises was the issue of a term limit, but also the mandate of President Barrow to serve only for 3 years. I will tell you why I need to talk about this. If we go through a little bit of history, what the people that founded this country, the people that we still remember and follow in the practice of our religion from the Senegambia region, one thing that they could never, or they never condone in their lives, is a toddler, a child that fabricates, that talks to people, that breaks their promises. Each and every one of us, from within our own houses, will discipline our children for breaking their promises. That is who we are as a people. The very moment a Senegambian cannot hold up to their words, they are no more people from among our cultures, our values, and our tradition. They may be with us, but the fact remains, they do not possess in them, with them, what we are known for as a people. The reason I'm saying this is the values that we are recognized with as a people is we hold up to our promises, our words, that we do, when we take an oath, that oath we will defend at all costs, even when it costs our lives. I talk about this because I want to ask a question. What we have seen since 2016 to date, the struggle that Gambian people are going through since 2016 to date, manifests only one thing. If we have leaders that cannot uphold the promises that they made to the Gambian people, and the Gambian people want to continue to dream that those leaders who cannot stand by their promises, by their words, will deliver a country to you, will deliver greatness to you, will deliver progress and development to you, then we are fooling ourselves. Will any one of you take dearly, trust dearly, hide behind somebody that you know with evidences, with facts, in numerous occasions, have made pledges to you, promises to you, and failed you, and they feel no remorse in doing so? Everything that was promised in 2016 is today in the circles, is in the dustbin, and they put it there willingly, and they continue to have the guts to come back to us to ask us the mandate to continue to lead us. It is time to wake up. It is time that the youth of this country to wake up. After 8 years, is there anybody in this room who can tell me what the vision of the president and his government is? I charge anybody in this room, I have $1,000 here, or whatever that you may want. If you can stand before us here and tell us what the dream, what the vision of the current regime is, you come here and do it. Nobody knows. And we still believe that a leadership without a vision, we still believe a people without a vision will sail to greatness. That is not going to happen. After 8 years, the Gambia still lacks direction. Nobody can tell you. We're coming into 2025, just few more days to go. We will be in 2025. Can any one of us here tell us what the programs, the aspirations of the government is for 2025? My belief is to lead people, they need to know where you're heading to. To lead people, they need to understand what is it that they need to do to play their part to get to that destination. This is not in place, it's lacking. Most of the members today in this high table are teachers. So as well many members of Tabax Reewmi movement. Not a single one of them can tell you where the country is heading to. Not a single one of them can tell you the details of the so-called national development plans in this country. Nowhere in this country, not in any school, in any learning institution, where a copy of the national development plan of the government and the country exists or is displayed. Therefore, what is the objective of the so-called national development plans? And no wonder, the very fact that every development plan the country has is always set to achieve political projects within a period of 5 years. What serious countries do, what serious administration and leadership do, is having plans for 50 years, for 30 years, or for 100 years. They have direction, they have a vision in that national development plan. You want to look at the vision of the country, you will not have. It makes no sense in there. The reality of this country today is the very culture that a Gambian takes 3 heavy meals a day is today not common in many societies in the Gambia. Many people, many families today in the Gambia have reduced their 3 times daily meals to 2. In fact, it is unfortunate. To some, it is 1, and whatever remains, takhale la modon. That is what we are seeing today as a country. Since 2016 to date, the political parties that have served in this regime from 2016 to date have never, not once, instituted a policy that deals or tries to tackle the problems of importation. Whatever we eat, whatever we clothe ourselves with, whatever you see in shops from around the country is imported into this country. Most of which could have been made, and in fact, they may not require a heavy investment. I have an opportunity not long ago that I bought lights from an Indian shop. And when I get home and call the electrician to assemble this light, I was surprised. I was shocked that almost everything about that light, the design, the carving, everything was made out of a light iron that we use for our doors. And when I look at the design again, myself that have not had the skills, that does not have the skills for welding, I believe I can do it. Most of the products that we are buying in the shops that are imported can be produced not through a factory, by providing little tools to young Gambians in the streets. My daughter picked a broom, what they call a standing broom, and I took it back. In fact, I bought it on my way home for $175. When I took the broom again from her, and I look at the handle, it is a stick. It's a wooden stick. When I look at the broom itself, wallahi, it can be made here in this country. Why? If the regime, if the leaders were interested in alleviating poverty, in taking the youths from the difficulties and struggles that they are facing, wallahi, there is no challenge in creating nothing less than 100 millionaires a year by the government. Looking at ourselves, little policies can change the lives of the Gambian youths, life of many. We all are improved. This is made and designed in Gambia. So this, and almost everything around here, with one policy to protect the design, property rights of individuals. I can have this on. Many people who probably are in love with the present programs of the Reewmi can buy it. And for that reason, the designer have a token from, even if it is $10, by the time 100,000 Gambians bought that product, that designer is a millionaire. These are simple things to do. But priorities to our leaders is what fills their pockets. Today, in few days' time or few months, February 18th, we'll be 60 years old. Wallahi, if we could go to the graveyards and raise some of them up, they will be disappointed. They will bite their fingers and they will wish that they had left this country under the colony of British rule. They wouldn't believe after 60 years of a so-called, of independence, the Gambia and Gambians still cannot feed themselves. After 60 years, our president and government, political leaders, take pride in accepting charity. The president and cabinet will leave their engagement, national duties, for hours only to receive one ambulance as charity. Wallahi, the cost, the time is more valuable. But why would they do that? Because there will be a need for a big picture. The donor will appreciate and will give another one if the head of state or the vice president or ministers or leaders of political parties can parade themselves in the streets, hours under the sun, only to extend their hands and receive a key of a single vehicle. This is sinful. This is utterly sinful. There is not a single project that the government of the day is constructing within the land source of this country from their own innovation. What the government of the day knows how to do best is loans, borrowing. Today, the Gambia is facing what we call a borrowing, a loan, distress. Very soon, like it or not, the creditors will very soon reject borrowing from the Gambia, because they will clearly know that the Gambia, the government of the Gambia, will not be able to service their loans. Within 8 years, the loan accumulated by the current regime doubles the amount that they have found in 2016. This is a problem. Why is it happening? Because there is nothing like innovation, nothing like creation from within the government or departments of the government. Gambia today, one of the smallest countries in the world, one of the smallest in Africa. Look at it. A country, the population of this country, one can put in one hand. Nigeria, which counting down to 200 million people. Senegal, counting down to 20 million people. Count Africa, go to any other Africa. This small Gambia, with its small population, that you can put in one hand, accounts for the most number of migrants, of youths lingering in European migrant camps. It has gone to an extent that there is not a month that passes by that women, that fathers and mothers will not turn out to be mourning for their children, for their youths. This happens on a daily basis. Reewmi have had their share. The village I came from have had their share. Bakau have had their share in numerous occasions. Serekunda, Soma, Basse, every community in this country have lost loved ones through the sea. Wallahi, if the fish in the sea could have answered question, they will tell you that over the past 8 years, over the past 10 years, the number of Gambians' flesh that they have eaten is historic. This is shameful. Until when? Now, whenever it happens, when is the last time that you have seen the Gambia government make mention of youths that are taking the perilous journey on a daily basis? When was the last time you have seen a press release from the government of the Gambia mourning the youths that are dying at sea? In fact, their strategy today is whenever it happens, they just turn a blind eye. Why? Because the saying is, in Gambia, when nobody talks about it, give it 3 days, it dies out. Whatever happened in this country, give it 3 days, people forget about it. That is how ill-informed we are. Most of us today lives in a subsistence manner. SMEs in this country is on subsistence manner. People who sell in the streets have their tables in the streets, small shops in the streets. What they do is those business, they're not even looking up to becoming millionaires from those businesses. They are for subsistence purposes. And in fact, it has gone to a level today that the tax they're being charged, the duties being collected from them on a daily basis, has now made it unbearable for them. They said, as a government, that they do not have money. The government is speaking. I wonder whether the Gambians are listening. You've had them in so many occasions. They say to the Gambian people that they do not have money. They're not just saying that out of the blue. That is the fact. Wallahi, do not pray. Let us not pray that day that the government of the Gambia will not have a penny to run the affairs of government. But that's where they were headed to today. The draft Constitution 2024, one of the things that has been put in that draft includes the issue of charging tuition fees for secondary schools. Because the government said they can no longer fund secondary education. They are speaking loud and clear. That is something very important for Gambians to take note of. They can no longer fund all these past months. School grants, how many times all these past months? Teachers are embarking on sit-down strikes. Why? Because they cannot get from the government their school grants. The government is speaking loud and clear. The problem is we are not listening. Today, corruption is almost celebrated. Corruption is almost celebrated. And there are evidences. There are evidences that clearly shows that the government do not have the appetite to fight corruption. We have seen not long ago a permanent secretary involved in financial malpractice, financial scandals. When picked up and tried by the courts, competent courts, the president came after to say that under the powers vested upon him, had forgiven that particular person. That is evident enough that the administration do not have the appetite to fight corruption. In fact, this runs down to almost all MDAs, government institutions. Go to public institutions of the Gambia. What they do on a daily basis is work for themselves, not the country. Directors everywhere in the country are paid allowances for meetings. What are directors employed to do other than meetings? Some of them would have coupons for $30,000 or more. Traveling on a daily basis. I call it government tourism. They can travel 1,000 times. Never will they bring one significant achievement from their travels. But the aims. More than 70% of government, of the budget that today they are proposing to us as a people, that to finance from our pockets, from a little money, all goes into buying of logistics, cars, and salaries and allowances. What is it that they have for the Gambian people then? The budget does not reflect in the hospitals. They do not reflect in schools, public schools. Go to public schools. You'll feel sorry for our children. Corruption has gone to the extent that even in the courthouses, within the judiciary, allege of theft of illegal substances. They were supposed to be the people that will uphold the values of the Gambia and the people of the Gambia. Within the premises, within the source and confines of the judiciary, we see alleged of thefts, not even money, but illegal substances, drugs. This speaks in volumes of the type of country that we have today. We need to be scared. Because we are there, we have reached that point to be scared. Also on corruption, another evidence, we have seen the pack of the National Assembly advising the President to put a director of a government institution on administrative leave pending investigation, pending disciplinary actions with regards to COVID funds. The President turns, gives a deaf ear. If funds of up to $137 million, $100 intended for food to distribute to poor Gambians during COVID, when food was not on their table. That sum, that money can be misappropriated by heads of institutions of government. And those responsible continue to go to work in those institutions, taking their salaries, allowances, traveling, still being paid under the covers of government. This tells the lack of appetite in fighting corruption that we have today in our country. We have seen the outcome of the Janneh Commission. Up until this minute, the government refused to tell the Gambian people who are those that bought the assets of the former president. Why do they refuse to do so? Those assets, as it was said, belongs to the state. Therefore, whoever gets it through the Janneh Commission must have earned them legally. There is nothing like hiding it. But why? Because most of them were the beneficiaries. And that is utter betrayal of the sanctuary of the Constitution of the Gambia. Utter betrayal of the trust that we bestowed upon them. Why should we continue to endure that? A lot of promises. We still are seeing the government fighting on one constitution, a new constitution. They came to us. They told us the 1997 constitution is not fit for purpose. It's a terrible constitution. It's a bad one. They have the constitution butchered so much that was it a human, it had perished. And they told us the way forward is bringing in a new constitution. They take more than $120 million of our money and invested in a constitution. All to throw it away only because The president who promised us that he would serve for 3 years, only because the group that promised us that they will only serve for 3 years and build us a good country, bring us a good constitution. That constitution defied them, denied them an option for a third term. This is utter disrespect to the Gambian people. This cannot continue. Unfortunately, yet we are still lingering with that constitution. That is not fit for purpose. It was fit for purpose, but no more. Why? Because any constitution, to be able to rule, to be able to lead governance, must earn the trust of the people. This constitution today do not have the trust of the Gambian people. Why? Because they told us, because they sold that to us, and it was bought by the Gambian people. Then we cannot continue to have this constitution before us. But we are not having it. Why? Because if we should replace it with another one, President Barrow will not have an option to go for a third term. Gambian people need to wake up. How much have you invested in 2016? How much have you invested in 2016 to see to it that President Jammeh relinquished power? Why? Because he had been too long in power. One of the problems we had with former President Jammeh was longevity. The whole world is changing. Entire Africa is changing. President Barrow and his team will not hold up to us on ransom. We do not have power to use other means. We can only use democratic means. But we will say it and we will stand firm and we will fight it. Whatever it takes, we will give it out. Education. Education is a problem. Just 2024, this year, grade 12 went into their exams. Out of 18,402, only 1,389, 7.70% secured credits, passes 5 credits, including maths and English. Fukki junne ak juroom ñett ci say doom. Fukki junne ak juroom ñett ci say doom. Def exam. Ñu ne li nga xam ne ñoo ci am li ñu war a duggee université matu ñaari junne loolu gàcce gënu ko metti. Dellu gannaaw réew gënta metti loolu. And this is the truth. But it's evidently clear. Go to our public institutions. But in Gambia, in many of our public institutions, up till this minute, kids, children, people will not sit on chairs. Compare the gap, the environment of private institutions, private schools, and public schools. It is utterly shameful. They didn't know. Wallahi, they are not solving, they are not giving us solutions. Why? Because they did not know. Why? Because their children are not leaving schools and giving them reports about the conditions of their education. The very first thing that all of them would do anytime that they have been entrusted with a position is to go to public school, pick out their own children and dump into private schools. Go to the University of the Gambia, go to MDI, go to other tertiary institutions. Their children, their kids are not common in those schools. The very moment they are done with their senior school, they take them away in good schools, in good curriculums. Until when must we continue to accept and enjoy this? Healthcare is a problem. That is the worst. A lot of things every day, on a daily basis. What will happen in heart hospital, what will take lives in hospitals is tantamount to negligence. We have had every kind of stories. In fact, stories that women that went on the scissors died. Why? After all, because something was left in their belly after they were delivered. Even these stories we've had. Until when? Medication is very expensive today. Many people today, I can bet, there are some in this hall today, wallahi, they have illnesses with them, but they cannot buy medication. Amul ñu jëndee garab dañoo xëy eget seen loxo yàlla nga ñu may wér foofu lañ am. It is all in the hands of a selected few. And they do whatever. You walk into a pharmacy today, the next day you went there, the same medication, price had changed significantly. The government does not care. The least they could do, talk about it, they even refuse to. Conditions of women in labor wards, absolutely terrible. Agriculture that today was supposed to feed the Gambian people. Agriculture today is the worst economy. Agriculture today is the worst industry in the Gambia. Gambian farmers will do whatever it takes, go to the farm, do whatever it takes, use their time, the time of their children, their time, the time of their families, and they will not sit on the table by the time the government is deciding on the prices of groundnut and other cereals. This is utter disrespect to the farmers. Obviously. This year, we all have heard that the harvest is in a bumper one. Yet still the government was not able to do anything for the price of groundnut. And in fact, now that farmers are supposed to get their money, they're telling them that they will be sending their monies electronically. Where would you expect the farthest end of Gambia that you send money to farmers, 20,000, 18,000, electronic? Where would they be casting those money? With the land, the water, the muscles we have, a youthful population. The rainy season ended, the entire land in Gambia is waste until when it rains again. The entire land of the country is waste until when it rains again. The entire population in provincial Gambia would not have anything to do other than to sit on bantabas until next year. A population that receives income once a year would expect to get themselves out of poverty. That it will never happen. Agriculture requires modernization. Agriculture requires serious business. The State House budget only that has been raised up to more than $1 billion. Can you imagine how much land will $1 billion irrigate? How much land will $1 billion irrigate? That farmers will be able to do farming activities the whole year round. Within 2 or 3 years, the Gambia will stop importing of vegetables. It is doable. The water is there. The money is there. How much was spent on SUVs during the OIC? When people start talking about it, the communication minister came out to say that the government is yet to decide on the fate of those cars, and by the time they do, they will come back to us as a people and tell us. Those cars are today shared among themselves. They have adjusted the convoy of the president, that of the vice president, and ministers from those cars, turning a deaf eye to the cost of maintaining those cars, a deaf eye to the cost of fueling those cars, the cost of maintaining those cars, the cost of fueling those cars, or the value, the worth of those cars. Was it put into ambulance services? There's not going to be a community, a village in this country without ambulances. That's not the health and welfare of the Gambian people. It's not their priority. The youths are the most marginalized in this country. Looking at the budget for youths, the majority of the Gambian population is a shame and it is an insult. And in fact, all of that budget, everything goes only into salary and allowances and logistics. Not a penny of that goes into meaningful projects. And it is the least. By the end of the year, the benefits, the fish money of the president in the State House is way more than the budget for Gambian youths. And Gambian youths continue to be the very one that run behind this government and their people when they need you, when they need to sow some kind of a force, when they need to drag you to the streets, to waste your times and efforts to see the flora and fauna of the Gambian beaches, the land in the Gambia, only on videos. They have right. They have right to know what a mango tree is. They have right to know what a Dakar is, what a Bissap, what is everything. They have right to know this. They have right to see this. They have right to live and grow this. We have no right to take it away from them. That should stop. The draft constitution, we are still fighting about the draft constitution. And they are holding us ransom. We are still here about the draft constitution. Why? Because President Barrow do not have an opportunity to go for a third term. What is wrong with us as a people? If we cannot hold our leaders, if we cannot charge our leaders with their words, then who are we? Who are we as a people? The National Assembly, the members in the House, you have no right to deny us an opportunity for a new constitution. The government did propose their bill, but it is your duty to make sure what it must be is there. Sit on it, scrutinize it, make it look what the Gambian people want to have, and bring it to us. We push it through, we pass it. Do not put our country, do not hold us on ransom only for your mere benefits and gains. We give a solemn pledge, inshallah ta'ala, by the grace of Allah the Almighty, that we will make sure this country is changed, and is changed for good. We will also in a leadership with integrity. We will provide leadership that is ethical, that is visionary, but also that is accountable to the people of the Gambia. We will be a government that will serve the people knowingly that every penny that is within our reach belongs to the Gambian people and must be put to the interest of the Gambian people. We will stand firm and make sure we also in policies that for once Gambia will start also donating or giving out charities and alms to others. We will be shame and shy in parading ourselves in the fronts of all offices in the country, receiving charities on a daily basis. We must give out, and we will do what we must do to be able to have an opportunity to give out to others. Economic revitalization and self-sufficiency will be an important pillar for us. We will uplift our economy by promoting domestic production. It is very easy. It's here. The time that the Gambia government was signing an MOU with the European Union to allow them to fish up to 3,000 tons of tuna in 2019, all of which the Gambia government gets in return, was nothing more than $950,000. When 3,000 tons of tuna in the market today can give you more than $70 million. If you manage what you have, why would you be roaming around the world begging and taking charities? Manage what you have. Manage it. Only fish alone, only tuna alone can give Gambia more than $70 million a year. If tuna alone can do that. And there are more than 12 commercialable, 12 different types of fish that are in commercial quantity in our waters. So in short, I am saying that the sea alone can provide 70 million times $12 a year for the government of the Gambia. If that can be accounted for, if that can come to the covers of the government of the Gambia, what would you be begging for? Then they know what priorities are. Right? But the problem is, by the time they do it themselves, by the time they do the needful, they will not be able to continue to enjoy the benefits of corruption. That is the bottom line, and that's the fact. Education system under the leadership of Reewmi will be modernized, but also immediately we will take action that's necessary. We cannot continue to send our children to school and all that they learn is Baba black sheep. The curriculum we have in our school must be tailored in a way and manner that will make Gambian youths, that will make Gambian students to be able to use these 10 fingers and craft out meaningful products, meaningful development programs. By the grace of Allah the Almighty, the very moment a Tabax regime is ushered in, one of the first things that will be done in education is going to be engaging the West African Examination Council, the body that we are a member, and propose to them that West Africa requires an urgent overhaul of that curriculum, and it needs to be made, adjusted in a way and manner that will provide or will produce people that will be beneficial. We will bring in transparent and accountable government. Natural resources of the Gambia will be used solely to generate income, but to better uplift the lives of the Gambian people. Sustainable development, environmental stewardship, these are going to be an agenda for Tabax Reewmi. This is the Gambia we want to build. A nation of opportunity, of dignity, of character, and of positive content. A nation of hope. It will not be easy. But with your trust and your commitment and partnership, it is within our reach, and we can do it. The time for change is now, and will be done by this generation. Today, the Gambia stands at a crossroads. It is time for us to take a decisive stand against the failures that have plagued our country for far too long. The voices of the youth must rise above the noise of empty promises. Now is the time to stop. Misplaced priorities and systemic corruption. We must go beyond that. Tabax Reewmi is not here over illusions or grandeur. We are here to provide tangible visions. We are here to provide hope and accountability. We are here to usher, to build, to sow the foundation for progress and for development. Collectively, we must break the cycle. We must collectively come together and break the cycle. We deserve apt leadership, and we must stand firm and strong to ask for that apt leadership. Leadership that values the people, the welfare of the people, that fosters innovation, that defies the odds, that bring new ways. That is the kind of leadership that we need. An inclusive leadership that leaves no one behind. The poor are left behind. The physically challenged are left behind. This cannot continue to happen. Together we must take ownership of our country. Together we must make solemn promises and pledges. Together we must take new oaths. This will redeem ourselves, so that tomorrow, by the time we face our forefathers that fought so hard, tomorrow when we face the likes of Edward Francis Small, we will really not feel shame or sigh before them. We will be proud to see them. We will be proud to tell them that the country you left behind is in the right footing, and it's left with people that, of course, are going to grow it to greatness. This we must all come together to do. On that note, I cannot thank you enough. Most of you have come so far from afar. From Sinjanketa, from Manduar, from Jaikunda, Birkama, Serakunda, everywhere. And this is only a press conference. But you came out as members of this movement to attend it in this capacity. That speaks in volume. That you have accepted and taken of the promise that is made by Reewmi. And wallahi, under God, under Allah the Almighty, we take an oath. Before Allah the Almighty, we take an oath. Billahi, we take an oath. We are never going to let you down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.